good producer to come along and make me an offer, and so I hope that'll happen.
How did you come up with the name Canterwood Crest?
The name Canterwood Crest came up from editor Kate. She came up with the name. She was brainstorming late one night at work, surrounded by a lot of coffee and Red Bull. That was her go-to. And she didn't know anything about horses at the time, but she did a lot of research into it and decided she came up with the name Canter because it had something to do with horses, and Crest because it made it sound elite. And she said, there we go, we've got the series title. She called me, what do you think about it? And I said, I love it, it's done, let's do it. So the series title, all the credit goes to Kate, absolutely. Yes.
Are you team Eric or team?
Gosh, it changes with every book. It's so bad. It's kind of like the Twilight. I'm team Edward and then I'm team Jacob. It goes back and forth. But they're both so different. So in one book, I'm like, you are such a jerk. And then the other book, I'm like, oh, but he's so sweet. So it goes back and forth and back and forth. And I think it's the same thing with Sasha, too. Yeah.
What advice would you give to young writers like me?
I would say to start writing now, and to start writing especially for student publications. The first place I was published was a magazine called Teen Ink, and the website is teenink.com. And I have a list of resources on my website for young writers. I answer probably 100+ questions that I get about writing from young writers. And I would say to do a journal every day, to write short stories if you want, to start writing your novel if that's your goal, and not to let anybody tell you that, oh, you're too young, or you need to be spending time doing this, and treat it like a job. I think that was the biggest thing for me, to treat it as something very serious that I wanted to make happen, and look at it as something that you need to do, and put time aside every day to work on it. And you can make it happen by doing that.
Do you have a special place that you do your writing and your work that inspires you?
I do. I have a very cozy spot on the couch with a cat on my lap, surrounded by lip gloss and pretty pink and purple pens. And I love to have the TV on. I need some noise while I work, and I'm not a coffee shop type of person to write. I know a lot of people do, but I am too much of a people watcher, so I like to write at home and kind of quiet, but with some TV on and noise. So that's where I do my writing.
Okay, we have time for maybe 3 more questions, and then we're going to read.
Yes.
Who do you think is your favorite character from the series?
I love Sasha so much, but I think my character that I would relate to the most would be Callie, because she is so driven, and she's so competitive, and she doesn't give up, and she works really hard. And especially in the early books, Callie is the one who's practicing until midnight. She's always at the stable working, and I relate to that a lot. Just through my own, just working through writing, I relate to Callie.
Do you have any titles of any books in mind?
I announced the next title after Chosen, and it will be Initiation. So that'll be the next title coming out. Yeah.
Do you have any favorite writers?
I have a lot of favorite writers. I love Meg Cabot. I love Libba Bray. I love Carrie Ryan. And I love Lauren Barnholt. So I have a lot of favorites. And a lot of them are my friends, and yeah, a lot of them are my friends, and it's really cool to be surrounded by that community of writers.
Want to read?
Yes, I would love to. So I'm going to show you guys first the full cover of Chosen. And this is it. And it's all blinged out in beautiful gold foil. You let the light catch that gold bling. Let see it. It's really beautiful. I'm really proud of it. And our design team and Kate worked really hard to come up with the concept for it. So I'm really excited about it. So this is the book that comes out in May. It's a standalone super special, and that means that you don't have to have read the series to to read this book, but if you do read it, it'll give you a lot more insight into our character who is essentially taking the reins after Sasha. So I'm going to read a little bit from Chosen. I hadn't been living in Union, Connecticut long, but in the short time since I'd been here, Briar Creek had become my oasis. It had given me what I needed, an escape and time off from competition. It had also taught me how to really love horses again. Kim had played a huge role in the way I felt about Briar Creek. She was one of the best instructors I'd ever had. The most exciting part about Kim was that she taught the stable star, Sasha Silver, all she needed to know to leave Briar Creek and get into Canterwood Crest Academy. Kim, familiar with the process because of Sasha, had helped me with my application. I'd sent transcripts from Yates, a DVD I taped of myself writing, and 2 letters of recommendation, one from Kim and the other from my French 2 teacher. I asked Kim to tell me everything she knew about the equestrian team. Kim told me everything, especially how tough the instructor, Mr. Connor, was on his students. The biggest shock had been when Kim had told me that I'd been here when Sasha had come to visit one day. Sasha Silver had been on the grounds and I hadn't even known it. I wondered if she had seen me. That's why I've been checking the mailbox every day since January 4th. Every day since I'd applied to Canterwood Crest. Briar Creek was so different than Canterwood. Kim was the only instructor here, and there were riders of every level and age. A few adult riders schooled young horses in the metal orange round pens that Kim had spaced out on opposite sides of the grassy drive. A college-age girl smiled down at me from her black and white Appaloosa as she headed for the trails. That's where I wished I was going. Any place but Kim's office to talk. It couldn't be good. My gut felt knotted. Maybe Kim wanted to take back her recommendation letter. I untapped, groomed, fed, and watered Cricket and led her into her stall. She took a dainty sip of water before turning in the deep sawdust to grab a bite of hay. Reluctant to leave her, I walked down the quiet aisle to Kim's office. I wished that Anna or Brielle could come in with me. I reached Kim's office and tapped my fingers against her half-open door. "Come in," she said. I smiled as best I could and sat in a chair across from her. Behind Kim, photos and paintings of her beloved horses covered the reddish-brown walls. Her tiny office had a cluttered desk, an overflowing metal file cabinet, and multicolored ribbons strung along the walls. There was a shelf of trophies, and the biggest one wasn't hard to miss. Its shiny gold gleamed, and the name etched on the plaque was familiar to everyone here, Sasha Silver. "Lauren, don't look so down," Kim said, smiling at me. "I'm sorry about the jump," I said. "It's not going to happen every time." Kim folded her hands into a steeplechase on her desk. "Of course it's not. You're a good jumper, and I'm not upset with you. But I want to talk to you for a second about something else." She paused. "About Canterwood." The words sent my heartbeat into overdrive. I nodded. "As I said many times before, I believe you're a great candidate for the school. But Lauren, I can tell as decision time gets closer that your nerves are affecting your ride." I lowered my head. She was right. "We are so privileged to have you at Briar Creek," Kim said. "It's been an honor to have you as a student. When I first found out that you were coming, we talked, and you told me you'd come for one reason." I swallowed, not wanting to think about it. Kim stared at me expectantly, waiting for me to continue her thought. "I came to get away from being Lauren Towers," I said, "the nationally ranked junior dressage champion. I came to learn what loving riding again meant." "And I have," I smiled. "You gave that back to me." Kim's happy expression matched mine, but I knew she wanted me to continue, to voice the one thing I'd purposely left unsaid. I took a breath. "And I came to get my confidence back after my jumping accident." Just saying the words was as far as my brain would go. I wasn't ready to think about it yet, to relive any of it, any of the sounds or smells, or worse than anything else, the feeling. The total loss of control, the helplessness. Confidence that was there all along, Kim said. "Since your family moved to Union, you've done nothing but move forward. You're incredibly talented for most riders, let alone a 12-year-old. "Thank you," I said again. "But when I think about my application to Canterwood, I get scared all over again." Kim's smile was gentle. You know who else was terrified when she applied to Canterwood? I shook my head.
Yeah.
Sasha, Kim said. She talked to me almost every day about how scared she was. Sasha Silver, really? I couldn't believe the superstar writer, only a year older than me, had been nervous about going to Canterwood. I watched dozens of DVDs of her shows. Kim had always used her as an example whenever she wanted to encourage my writing class. Really? She almost didn't go to Canterwood because she was worried that she wouldn't measure up to the other writers, Kim said. She glanced up at a picture of Sasha and her horse on the wall. But she couldn't stay here, Kim continued. Briar Creek was her home for a little while, but it was really just a bridge to Canterwood. And that's what I hope it will be for you. You're ready to compete again, Lauren. The only way to quiet your fears is to face them. And that is an excerpt from CHOSEN.
So maybe one or two more questions and we'll do a signing.
All right, sounds great.
Is Sasha kind of like famous now for horseback riding?
I think she's famous kind of in that way of she seems very real to a lot of people. If you're on Facebook, there are so many people who created profiles with Jill's picture as Sasha, and they pretend that they're Sasha and talk about her as if they're at school. People have set up tweets under her name. She has her own fan fiction forum and a lot of fan websites. So I think she's really become her own sort of character in this world, which is really, really exciting and cool.
How long have you known Sasha?
I have known Sasha, that one over there, since 2007. So we've known each other a while. I know, it is crazy. It is a while. It is a while.
Okay, final question?
What made you want to write about horses?
I wanted to write about horses because I couldn't ride anymore, and I thought that would be a way for me to experience that again and to get back into it without riding. So writing from Sasha's perspective, I kind of modeled her a little bit after me. Okay, a lot of lip-gloss thing, to be honest. But it gave me a sense of being able to be around horses, and it led me to start to go to stables, visit them, pet them. So Sasha essentially got me back into horse world, and I'm really happy about that.
You have to tell us why you couldn't ride again.
I had spinal surgery when I was 13, so after that I was not able to ride again. I had it for scoliosis, so that prevented me from riding.
Do you have particular barns that you go to to reconnect? Do you have like a kind of home barn that you visit with?
I haven't since I moved to Park Slope, but I do spend a lot of time when we do photo shoots every few months with the horses at the stables, and that's a lot of fun. And I hope to start visiting a local stable in my area very soon.
Well, will you sign books?
I would love to.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.